Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful Thursday morning. Today we've got a really special guest to celebrate Women's Day. We have someone who I met in a basket. Can you believe it? So welcome to the show. Great to have everybody here again. And today we're going to be celebrating Women's Day, but we're going to be looking at someone who chose to actually live above the clouds rather than in front of a desk. And most of us, including myself, spends many hours in front of my computer, as I'm sitting here today in front of you all. And Felicity Clegg decided to actually not do that and actually go and fly hot air balloons. So we're going to learn all about that. But before we do that, I'd like to just go around the room and just ask each of our co-hosts who've come to join us to actually introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Russell. Russell, please introduce yourself.
Morning, everyone. Morning, David. My name is Russell John Fagan. I run a company and own a company called Orbspec. We focus on business development, reputation management, and specifically on sales and doing a sales masterclass with people, teaching them how to sell. That's me in a nutshell. Not in a basket, in a nutshell.
Morning, Russell. Thanks for being here. Let's go to Wilhelm. Wilhelm, morning to you. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, David. Yes, thank you for this great opportunity to be here with you guys. It's good that you've met her in the basket and not in the closet or something. But okay, what I do, I help leaders unlock their untapped potential within themselves and their teams through powerful science-backed questionnaires. We identify each person's true genius, their best role in a team, what energizes them, and how they can energize others. This clarity doesn't just improve morale, it accelerates growth, boosts productivity, and aligns everyone with their God-given purpose. So when your people believe in their strengths, behave with purpose, and become their best, your business wins. So that's what I do.
Wonderful, Wilhelm. Thanks for being here. Let's go to Glenn. Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, David, and good morning, everyone that's watching at the moment. Great to have you on board, Felicity. I think this is really going to be a great talk. Looking so forward to this. As you can see, the name's Glenn Lees-Jones. I do life and business coaching. I love to call myself a personal locksmith because I love to unlock the potential inside of people and help them step into destiny, and that's pretty much what I do. Back to you, David. Thank you very much.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Thanks for being here, Glenn. So let me talk about myself quickly. My name is David Barr. I'm the host of Vision 2025. The co-host and myself, we decided to actually put this together about a year and a half ago. Initially, we were looking mostly at how to improve your life. Now we look at business and how to actually be smarter in business. And we look at different careers and we look at different people who've made incredible success of their lives. And today we're really honored to have Felicity here to talk about her career and her choices that have actually made her passion come true. So we're really looking forward to that. Before we go there, I'd like to just ask Mana to introduce herself. Mana, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. I was driving while you guys started, but good morning. My name is Marna. I own a company called InScope Insurance Brokers. And while you do business, we make sure that your assets are taken care of. So we do from your fleet insurance to your business insurance, from your manufacturing, import, exports. We even insure hot air balloons, believe it or not, but we do.
Welcome, Mana. Thank you so much. So I met Felicity in a basket, and it was a very early morning. We had to get up at 4 o'clock. We were basically at the venue in Magaliesberg at 5:30 in the morning. And then we basically had hot coffee and hot chocolate. I had hot chocolate. It was fantastic. It was freezing cold. And we watched the balloons being filled. And little did I know that I was going to meet Felicity. Shortly, at about 6 o'clock, we were thrown into a basket. Literally, we had to climb into this basket, and there was a hot air balloon above us. And suddenly the journey started. And what amazing journey I had. It was something that was on my bucket list. And Felicity was our aeronaut with an E at the end. So Felicity, welcome to the show. So great to have you here. I believe you've been doing this for 30 years now. You're flying balloons every morning.
It's an insane thing to do, but it's something that I absolutely adore. I have a great passion for it. And I'm very, very blessed.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Felicity, you said your ballooning career actually started by accident through hang gliding of, another type of sport. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how suddenly you got into ballooning?
So it was one of those strange things, being in hang gliding a long time ago, when the delta wings that were being flown then were very inefficient. In order to have a long flight, you had to find a way of getting up high. So it was either go off a very high mountain, or we had the opportunity to go up under a balloon with a guy called Terry Adams, who was actually the founding father of ballooning in South Africa. He came here for an event and he never went home. He said the weather in Joburg was too good and he stayed here. So he built his first three balloons actually, in our hang gliding workshop. And we got an opportunity to see how it was done, and we built a balloon. And there we are.
Now, I believe that balloon behind you's got a story.
That is the balloon. Yeah, that is the balloon we built.
Wow.
It's since been refurbished, but it's a really nice little balloon to fly, and it's the one I fly for fun.
Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. So what was your biggest challenge in the beginning, in those early days when you actually started to build those balloons, and what challenges? I actually went and watched that movie, with them when they crossed from East Berlin to West Berlin. And
yes.
And I was very inspired by that movie. Can you tell us what the challenges were? Because I saw them really battling, getting material.
Very difficult, yeah. So building our first balloon, the first balloons that were built out of spinnaker cloth. So we had to import spinnaker cloth from Germany and to actually build the envelope. The cloth in those days didn't last very long, so it's now been repaneled with proper balloon fabric, because these days fabric technology has advanced a lot and they can make fabric that is custom built for balloons, takes the heat and the wear. So in the beginning, in those early days, it was not a big thing there was no commercial flying. In fact, it was all sport flying. And so we would get together with a club and we would go out flying at the weekends for fun with our friends and burner breakfasts, actually. Yeah. The breakfast was not as you had, it was cooked on the burner after the flight.
Oh, wow. I must say, the breakfast I had the other day, wow, what a breakfast. That was a real spread. And but tell me, obviously you've got this balloon workshop. And what I want to ask you, is it a maintenance workshop, or what actually is it? What type of workshop is it?
Well, the workshop is an approved workshop, approved by Civil Aviation for doing balloon repairs. That isn't sort of the most sustainable business, so we add to it by doing things like advertising banners on balloons and more creative stuff and events. And between that and my flying, I have a living, and a living that I'm very passionate about. So I'm lucky.
Wow. And, obviously making balloons, making baskets, I mean, it's quite an intricate thing. Where does that craftsmanship come from? Is that something that you've done yourself?
The manufacturing, sorry, I'm interrupting you. The manufacturing actually came to an end because we had to, eventually Civil Aviation got involved and said, if you want to manufacture, you need different approvals, and the process of getting that approval is too expensive for the tiny market we have in South Africa. So we've only ever made balloons for sport and not for commercial work. And these days, most of the flying is commercial because it's an expensive thing, becoming more expensive by the day. And so everybody tries to find a way to fund their passion.
Wow.
So in the beginning, we actually had our very first basket made by the Blind Society.
Oh.
And then we got the fabric in from Germany, and we built a balloon. We imported a burner from a very early manufacturer called Thunder in the UK, put it all together, and we had a hot air balloon.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, Lizzie, I'm going to hand over to Mana. Mana's going to be asking you some questions really about your current and your career that you run today. So, Mana,
Okay.
over to you.
Yes, good morning, Felicity. You look quite different than I saw you in the basket. Welcome to our club. You were very, very, very professional in our basket, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
So you've managed to, not all of us can turn our passion into a sustainable career, and you've done that for over 30 years. What's the business model behind a life of ballooning? I mean, what a life.
It is, I'm so lucky, and I wouldn't say that there's a business model. I kind of fell into this, and if you love something that much, you'll make it work. And that's basically how it's come about. Yes, it hasn't always been easy. I've been bankrupt. I've done all those things, but eventually you find a way to make what you do, what you love, work as a business.
Well, that's amazing. So, running a balloon maintenance workshop since I think 2000, you said, is a niche enterprise. Yeah. How have you kept that profitable and relevant? Sorry,
relevant. Yeah, profitable is difficult because it's a very regulated industry these days. It was easier earlier on, and these days we are so over-regulated. We're treated like airplanes. And so I spend a lot of my day doing paperwork, which I hate. But what the function of the workshop is actually to do the annual airworthies on balloons and to do maintenance when they need maintenance. And then we add to it by doing the creative stuff that I love, like making banners for advertising and organizing events. Yeah.
But it's typical.
I've lost you.
Mana, we lost you. Mana, start again.
Okay, I think I lost some signal here. I don't know why. I'm quite curious to know what a typical day for Felicity is. What's your day like?
The wonderful thing about my life is I don't have a typical day. But if I'm flying, my day will start very early, going out to fly balloons out at Bill Harrop's in the Magaliesberg Valley. And that is just a treat. And then once that's over, I come back to the workshop. I have people working here and they get on with the work when I'm not here. I'm fortunate. And then so we might be doing an airworthy on a balloon. We might be doing a repair to a balloon. We might be checking tanks, burners, envelopes, and a lot of dealing with civil aviation and the regulatory side.
Okay. Over to you, David.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you one question, Felicity. From, the one balloon I've seen a lot of is the Remax balloon.
Yeah.
And apparently you were the Remax aeronaut for many years. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was, yes. Remax is an interesting company. When they started it in America, they used a balloon as their logo. And the last time I checked, they own about 120 balloons in America.
Wow.
As many of their agents have their own balloons. In South Africa, there's just a balloon, a Remax balloon, used by all the Remax agents in the country. And I was lucky enough to fly that balloon over a period of about 10, 12 years. Yeah.
Wow.
It was great fun.
So if there are any companies out there that want to have some great advertising on a balloon, get hold of Felicity.
It's the biggest advertising banner that you can have, and it always attracts attention.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to hand over to Glenn. Thanks, Mana. Glenn's a Map for Life coach, and he maps out lives, your life. So, Glenn, over to you.
Thanks, David. Appreciate this. Yeah, Felicity, this is really amazing for me, I must admit. This is certainly one of the things on my bucket list. But, ballooning, like life, it really requires a lot of reading conditions and making adjustments. I would assume that would be the case. How do you actually plan and map out your flights and then your business direction?
Yeah. So I always say that if you want to succeed in ballooning, you need to be a good tap dancer. You need to be able to move with the changes. Your day will start very early, checking the weather, making sure that what's forecasted is going to happen, because you can't drag your passengers all the way out to a launch site and find you can't fly. And if you do take a decision to fly, you must know that you can fly safely. And that's very, very important where I'm flying now at Bill Harrops out in Magaliesberg, safety of prime importance. So, yes, there's a lot of things. And if things change, you have to adjust to that. So that's, I think, one of the things that makes me keep going is the fact that it's never the same and there's always new things to adapt to. Yeah.
Fascinating, really fascinating. I think that's really challenging as well. And you've obviously really got to know what you're doing when it comes to weather. But when you began your career, did you actually have a roadmap or did your path really evolve organically?
No, it definitely evolved. I never had a roadmap. I sort of started doing this for fun. And as we all did, we were part of a couple of clubs and we used to go out and fly for fun. And then Bill Harrops was actually the very first person who got a licensed operation. So he's one of the oldest, Bill Harrops Balloon Safaris is one of the oldest balloon operations in the country. And a lot of people then followed him and started doing that. So I never planned on getting into this. It was just then someone needs a pilot. So yes, of course I'll fly and anything to go and to get up in the air. Yeah. So that's how it was never something that I woke up one day and thought, I wonder how I can do this, and I plan to do it. I've been just incredibly lucky at the opportunities that have come up in front of me. Yeah.
Wonderful. You mentioned something earlier, and that was just your passion, and I can just see that. I can just see you're absolutely passionate about it, and that's such an important aspect as well for everything that you want to do in life. Tell me, how do you actually balance the adventure of ballooning with the discipline and structure needed for a long-term success?
That is a tricky one. Yeah, that it is difficult. And I've been lucky to be able to do that. And I think it's by taking more chances. So a lot of people need security. They want a contract. They want to be sure that they're going to have a job every day. And I've never operated that way. I've never had a contract. So I've been able to work for companies I've been lucky that they will employ me on a freelance basis. And then that gives me the freedom from time to time to go and do the things that are the fun bits, the travel and the festivals and the other experiences in other countries.
Sure, amazing. That's really incredible. Okay, my last question here for you today is really what role has goal setting played in your career, in your longevity?
It should set more. It should take more priority in my life, and it probably doesn't as much as it should. But I think as I get older, I kind of realize, yes, you've got to set goals and you've got a plan now for going forward. So it has become more important to me now. Yeah, and I think probably it would have been better if I'd started earlier.
Absolutely. No, but that's great. Yeah. Wonderful. Felicity, great chatting to you, and we trust everything is going to go exceptionally well for you in the future. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Glenn. Come and join us in a basket one day.
Absolutely, we're going to.
Well, Glenn, you definitely have to do that. I mean, it's an incredible experience, and I'm scared of heights, and I must say, when I even think about, on the movies, when I watch it on the TV and I see, them looking over the cliff or the high building, my legs shake. But it wasn't the case this time when I went up with Felicity. It was amazing. I'm going to hand over to Wilhelm. Wilhelm's a life energy coach, and he looks at all that passion and actually having the energy to do what you have. And Felicity, you must have a lot of passion and a lot of energy to get up every morning when it's so cold to go and up. So, Wilhelm, over to you.
Thank you, David. Yes, thank you for this wonderful opportunity to ask you a few questions, Felicity. Ballooning can be physically and mentally demanding. How do you maintain that energy and resilience needed for your work?
I think I'm just very lucky to have good health, and I do try and look after my health because I think we all need to these days. And to do what I do, I need to have energy. And I'm very lucky to have that. I try to keep fit. I try to eat the right things and do all of the things that we should do to keep fit. And if you're busy, you're going to be fit anyway, so it's an active, busy life. And that way I manage to keep fit enough.
Thank you very much. Yes, one of my philosophies is actually what Ashley Montague said, to die as young, as late as possible. So I try to work on that one.
That's a good one.
The next question, after 3 decades in the skies, what still excites you about getting into the basket each morning?
Every single flight. It's just, for me, sometimes it's hard to put the first foot out of the bed because if it's very early and very cold. But once I'm up and I know I'm going to be flying, just arriving on the launch site, seeing all the crew, getting the balloon going, it's always spectacular. Then firing up those burners in the morning is just an absolute joy. I just love it. And then it's a principle that works every time. Hot air rises. You learn that when you're 12. And every single day it works. It's magnificent. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I always say I don't want to retire. I just want to refire. So until the last day. How do you see your role evolving with your focus more on teaching maybe, or events, or innovation in ballooning? What's the future looking like?
Yeah, so I have turned more to doing training now because we are very short of balloon pilots, and it's not something that everybody wants to do. Nobody wants to get up early in the morning and work hard when you can sit on your couch with a screen and make money, So I'm doing quite a bit of training now. And innovation in ballooning I like to keep up with what's going on. It doesn't change a lot. Ballooning is one of the oldest forms of aviation. People were flying balloons 100 years before there were aeroplanes.
Okay.
I represent a very innovative ballooning company in Europe, and I like to visit them and see what they're doing because they're always coming up with something new. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, the last thing, what message would you give to women considering this unconventional careers?
If you love it, do it. So if you have a passion for anything, I think you can make a success out of it. If you're just being hired for a job, it's a lot more difficult. So I think really it's follow your passion.
Yes, for sure. And that is what energizes you, Naz. So thank you very much for your answers. Thank you, David. Over to you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I must say, for me, when we went early in the morning, it was minus 2.5 degrees. So it was very cold. But I tell you what, that hot coffee or the hot chocolate that I had was amazing. And just, watching these balloons was incredible experience. I'm going to pass on to Russell, who's a sales coach. He's going to be talking a little bit more about how does Felicity actually get business going. So Felicity, let Russell ask you some questions regarding that.
Thanks, David. Felicity, I enjoy what you're talking about specifically on the passion, but I'll comment on that later. My first question, I've changed a little bit to, if I listen to you and I understand and I hear the word passion the whole time, my question to you is, how do you extend the adventure side of this and the passion that you have for that adventure through to your clients? How do you communicate that?
Ah.
I'm looking at it from a sales perspective, so I would like to.
From a sales perspective, yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how do you actually do this, but focusing on the adventure and the passion that you have for this, how do you mold that into your message?
So I'm not involved with sales for passenger flights much. Bill Harrops have an amazing team who are really good on the social media side and the marketing side and enthusiastically promote what we do. Okay. So I'm lucky for that. But when the clients arrive, then it's my job to keep them happy and to make sure that they have a good experience. So that's where my part comes in, is to engage them, to tell them interesting things, make sure that they're comfortable. And hand them back to our amazing staff afterwards for a wonderful breakfast. So I think everybody knows how good the breakfast at Bill Harrops is.
Perfect. The next question is based on the strategies. Once again, if I listen to what you're talking about and so forth, there are two elements of what you guys are doing, which is the events. Okay, let's not focus on taking the passengers in. I'm talking about the events specifically. So I would imagine that's corporate events, right? And then as well, the banner side, which is then a marketing. So there's those
an advertising thing.
Yeah. Is that something that you are also involved with, or is that something that also gets done?
Yes, that's very much what I do. Is in our workshop, we do make banners for balloons, for events, and for advertising. So if a corporate company has something they want to promote, we can make a banner, put it on the side of a balloon, or sell them their own balloon if it's going to be a long-term campaign that can promote their product. And that's where I have to get involved with the sales and things. It's quite a tricky one because very often I'm dealing through agents and it dissipates the message. But I do try and promote that as much as I can because I love the creativity of that kind of work.
Do you have a specific strategy that you use at this moment?
Only on, I have a way that I respond to inquiries. And that's mainly to educate people on what actually is involved, because most people know nothing about a balloon or how it works or how it can be used. And getting that message across is what's important, because it's not just we'll put something on a balloon. You have to make sure it's used properly to benefit the brand or the company. Yeah.
You've actually now just touched on question 3. So maybe we can just elaborate a little more, but I think there has to be a fine balance between the experience that you are trying to create, and specifically face-to-face, but also the actual product, which is the balloon, and what the balloon can be for corporate, for example, or for corporate as advertising. So there should be a balance on that. Is there anything that you want to mention on that you can, that would be suitable for the discussion?
You mean a balance between passenger flying and corporate flying?
Well, the experience, because let's say, for example, you go into a corporate, and like you say, most of these corporates want the advertising, but they don't know much about the ballooning. So the experience of ballooning is something that you're going to need to feed into the sales.
Across.
Definitely. But the importance of the product and having the product that is suitable for them, and I think that balance. What we find a lot of times in sales is people will sell the product, but they won't sell the outcome, and they lose the sale, and they can't understand why, because they've got such a beautiful product, but they never solve the outcome, and that is what people want. I think that's where I'm going with the question.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So you have to try and make them envisage how it can be used and what the result will be. And it can be spectacular.
I can imagine. This is on my bucket list as well, so we'll definitely...
Oh, good. We'll see you in a basket soon at the Harrops.
Absolutely. My last question is, I am one for youth and I am one for development and so forth. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and I want to give you the opportunity to give us a 10-second, 15-second pitch on the next generation who feel that they want to, sell the dream to the next generation, and give us a 10-second pitch, 15-second pitch.
That's a very difficult question, Russell. But we have had phenomenal success with one or two of the students that we have trained who have really become passionate about it and gone on to do great things. We had one student at Bill Harrops who he's now flying big balloons in East Africa, really an inspiring guy. And again, you have to have the passion for it to do it. So if you want a real life that's exciting, you have to put in the hard work first, but ballooning can be a wonderful career.
Brilliant sales speech. Thank you so much, Felicity. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Russell. Thanks, Wilhelm. Thanks, Glenn. You know, one of the things I was so impressed about was when we actually touched down. First of all, it was very, we had to sort of get down, sit down in the basket itself, and hold the handles on the side of the basket. And I was expecting some very rough landing, but it was very, very soft. And then what happened was, the amazing thing that I saw, which was totally incredible, was the fact that then Felicity went along and she asked me to get out with three other people. We got out with the balloon, and then she lifted the balloon and gently put the balloon down on a trailer that was parked right next to the basket. It was unbelievable to see the precision of that and the expertise of just being able to do that. And then we all got out, and while we all drank champagne and orange juice, they packed the balloon in about like 10 minutes. I think, Felicity, you were telling us a story around that. And before we even finished the champagne and orange juice, basically the balloon was gone on the trailer. Felicity, apparently you guys at Bill Harrops have a competition to see the time that you can actually pack up a balloon. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So they did a long time ago have a little competition between the crew. And apparently the fastest crew did it in 7 minutes. So this has now become an aspiration for the crew we have today. They haven't managed the 7 minutes on a real flight yet, but it's wonderful that they're so enthusiastic, and we do have fabulous crew. And they aspire to the 7 minute pack up. It's wonderful.
I'm going to show a picture here. Let me just put it in the background. Let's see. Marnie, you've got a question regarding this this picture that you took.
Yes, I took this picture that morning. It was quite interesting to see everybody looking up in the sky. Now, I know there was balloons, but I would like to know more about you guys sending the balloons up, and what is it that you see?
So, Mina, this is part of our planning, is once we've got the forecasts and we believe we're going to be able to fly and we all arrive and inflate the balloons, we do like a double check. We send up a small helium balloon up into the sky and watch it so we can see which direction it's taking and sort of anticipate what the flight will be like. So it's quite important, because forecasting is not always that accurate. But what actually we see there is probably more or less what we're going to have for the flight.
That is absolutely amazing. I was just thinking when I looked at that, we all think, when you book for the flight, it's a lot of money. But then I looked at your crew and I looked at this and I think, there's so many things involved in the background. We've talked business now, but I would like to know more about what goes on behind the scenes before you actually get your people in the basket and go up in the air. It must be very involved. I mean, safety issues and there's so many things that you need to look at. And that's why I wanted to ask about this picture.
Yeah. So the picture is taken once the balloons are cold inflated. That means the crew have been there very early in the morning, laid everything out ready for the flight, checked all the connections, got everything set up. And just before it starts to get light, we put a fan on in each balloon, or 2 fans on the bigger balloons, and we cold inflate them. We pump cold air into them. And at that point, the pilots have done their pre-flight checks. They come together and watch a balloon, as they are in this picture, and make the final decision for flight. So, and have a good idea then of what we're going to do. In the background, all sorts of things are going on at the Harrops, because we have an amazing kitchen staff, and they're there at the same time as the crew very early, starting to prepare breakfast for the guests after the flight, putting together the coffee and the wonderful muffins. And on the other side, on the ground operations side, then it's a matter of all the paperwork being in place, the passengers being properly briefed. There's a lot of things that go into the morning that have to be done correctly to keep our authority to fly, actually. Yeah.
What was amazing to me is when we're busy with our breakfast, you guys came around and gave us certificates. I can't remember the wording, but it's something like you were brave enough, or something like that.
Yes, you had courage and
it's quite a brave
fortitude.
thing to do.
That actually came from Bill Harrop himself, the actual wording. A lot of people do give a certificate after a balloon flight, but his is very interestingly worded, and it's something that was typical of him and the way he did things in a very flamboyant fashion. So yes, you get told that you had courage and fortitude to ascend as few other earthly mortals would dare unto the ether. And people love that. Yeah.
I must be honest, a week before we actually went up, I started saying to David, I think we should postpone this. I really think I'm not scared of heights.
I'm so glad you didn't.
Scared of heights. And then I thought, no, I can't do this. But it was such an amazing flight. It was so quiet. The stillness of it, the quietness of it, the whole experience was absolutely unexpectedly amazing. There's not that adrenaline rush like when you jump down a mountain or something. This was absolutely I can recommend it for anybody who is scared of heights to actually do this, because it's such an amazing flight.
Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't postpone or cancel, because it was a lovely flight that morning, and I so enjoyed having you on board. A lot of people are nervous, and the wonderful thing is, if they can just jump on board, they overcome that fear. So mostly the nervousness is because they don't know what to expect, and some people expect that the balloon is going to rock around and there's going to be movement, but it's a very stable platform. And I would say 99.9% of people actually overcome that fear and love the flight.
Yeah, I didn't expect the stillness of it and the stability of it. It was absolutely amazing. So I think I need to keep my mouth quiet now to give the men in the room something to say.
Wow, we've got so many comments coming through. I'm just posting a few of them. So a lot of people listening in and commenting. If there are any questions from anyone in the audience, please put it in the chat, and I'll ask Felicity. Felicity, while we're waiting for other people just to comment, I'm going to go around the room and just ask each of our co-hosts just to give a comment or ask another question. Glenn, let's start with you.
Felicity, thank you so much. It's definitely going to be on my bucket. In fact, I think it's going to be coming off my bucket list. I'm going to be talking to my wife now and discussing it. We're going to plan this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
So you've just sold it to me. Your pitch was brilliant. Good. I think my last take on this is just the words passion meets purpose. Passion meets purpose.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Felicity, love what you're doing. Keep on going.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. See you soon.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, Glenn, you really must put that on your bucket list. Well, you must go and do it, definitely. But just on that, when's the best time to fly? What time of the year? Winter, summer? When would you suggest people go and fly the most?
So for us, winter flying is the best flying. It's the most stable. But because it's really, really cold in the early morning, as you experienced, a lot of people think it's better to fly in summer. Summer is the time we have more cancellations because of weather, because anyone who's lived on the Highveld for any amount of time will know that thunderstorms used to come in the afternoon, and these days they come in the morning sometimes. So that makes our weather decisions a lot more difficult. And we do fly a very high percentage of our flights. Our staff keep track of the percentage, and it is high. But the cancellations happen more in summer than in winter. But both times of year are lovely. They have different, you get a different seasonal view in the valley. You know, sometimes you get all the beautiful grasses now, beautiful colors. And in spring and summer, it's more green. So it's different every time.
Wonderful. You know, one of the things that I've just on the last person's comment, you know, I asked how many people go in one of those baskets, and I was like looking at the basket from afar, and I was looking at it saying, you know, maybe like, you know, maybe 10 people, whatever. And then the lady said to me, no, 18. And I was like, how are we all going to fit in there? And I was actually quite surprised how 18 people can get into such a small basket. But we all fitted and we all had space to turn around. And
yeah. So it depends on the time of year as to how many people can go in a basket, because your lift in a balloon varies with temperature. So temperature and altitude. So in winter, we can fly more people in the basket than we can in summer.
Oh, absolutely. Heather asks, what qualities would you look for someone with no experience and wanting to work with you?
Again, a passion for what we do. That's the most important thing. And you don't need to have a lot of skills, but a willingness to learn.
I think that's the case with everything, isn't it? That's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Well, Helen, I'm sure you've got a question.
Yeah, what interests me, you know, when we actually, before we start with our conversation, we mentioned the fact that the balloon take you where the wind will blow you. And so thing is, how do you get back, or is those guys looking and see where are you going, and they all drive towards the place where you are going to land?
That's exactly how it works, Philan.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask that when we're flying. They say, when we start to get far away from the base, they say, but how are we going to get back? You know, we're going to land here? And you say, yeah, no, the crew will collect us. So we have an amazing team of guys who follow us to where we land. Often they're there waiting for us. They know what we're going to do. And they pack everything up and take it back. But there are some days that we have winds, low-level winds going back to the launch site, and we can actually go back and land at the base. And on those days, you have people who say, oh, we didn't go anywhere. We've been out and back. So it's a matter of trying to keep everybody happy. Yeah.
Well, thank you. The thing is, you know, what I see here is, this is typically how life is. There's things that happen in life, and there's winds that blow, and you need to just take the wind, chill, and enjoy the journey. And I think
enjoy the adventure. Yeah.
Yes, that's life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it is an adventure. Yeah. And so it is. I often say that to passengers who start worrying about, you know, but how are we going to get back and things like that. I say, we're just going to give you a map and a bottle of water, and you're going to walk back, you know. This is an adventure. But they're always collected and taken back to breakfast.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Felicity.
Thank you. Russell, I'm sure you've got a question.
I've actually more got a statement. One of my key comments that I make when I do sales training is that, you know, I would rather in business, I'd rather take someone with passion than someone with a degree, because knowledge you can transfer, but passion you can't breed.
Yeah.
And you are the epitome of that. You are that passion that I talk about. I experience in the way you talk, your love for what you do. And it's inspirational, because what it does, it shows me that I'm right. It's knowledge is easy to gain. If you look at today, we can go on the internet, and I can probably learn how to fly a hot air balloon just by going on the internet, because the knowledge is available. But do I have the passion? And I think that is the takeaway for the audience and for myself, that we need to understand is, whatever we do it passionately. The rest will come. And I like what Alam says, the winds will take you to and fro, but let those winds take you to and fro with passion. And that I enjoy. Thank you.
No, it's absolutely right. And I think that's the answer to Heather's question, is you just need passion and the rest will come. Yeah.
Thank you. Mana, I'm sure you've got a question.
Yeah, you know me well, hey. No, I was just thinking, getting up in the air and just, not knowing where you're going to land is basically what happened when I started my business. I just drew, got the dots together there. So sometimes, you're not sure where you're going to go, and you're unsure what's going to happen, and you're scared to take that move to the next step in your life. But all you need to do is just basically do it. I mean, just jump in there, and the river will go wherever you need to go. You just need to follow it and have faith. But it was an amazing experience. And I can really say to everybody who's scared, just do it. Just in life, whatever it is, whatever you want to do, just go ahead and do it. If that's what you want to do, and that's where you want life to take you. So thank you for that. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Thanks, Mana. So there's a question here, Felicity. How do you feel when you are the passenger and not the pilot?
I think that's quite subjective. I do have passengers sometimes who I think don't like not being in control. So I think it's a personality type. And other people are just awestruck. I've had people in tears. They've been so happy with the experience. So I think it's partly what you expect. And by and large, the people who choose to come along on a balloon flight are people who are out to have a good time. They're adventurous. They're wonderful company. And we can really have good fun together. So that's another part of my job that gives me a lot of pleasure. We're conveyors of pleasure. We give people pleasure in a balloon. And very often that reflects back. I love that.
Sure. Doing what you do and actually giving people that experience, that, to go along and have a balloon experience, not everyone can do it. And just to be able to do that and experience it, it's just something out of this world. I mean, for me, it was so, the going up was so incredible, because I didn't even realize we'd left the ground. It was so just natural. And suddenly, the one thing that I was so struck was the fact that at one point we were, I think you said 1,400 meters above the ground. And it was, basically we're higher than the clouds. And it was just, and the sun was below the clouds. So it was absolutely wow. I wish I could show you that photo. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was very pretty.
And one of my last question is, we at the time we went, there were 3 balloons, and I noticed that some of the balloons stayed very low, some went very high. Was there a reason for that, or was it just because that's the air pockets that they were in?
No, it's how they've chosen to plan their flight. So often at the beginning of the flight, we'll stay low because those lower winds are only there very early. And as the ground heats up, you're relying on the winds that were above you. So you'll find that people do that at different things. And I often get that question, why are they so low? And the answer is because they can be. And they'll be higher later on, and everybody will have a chance to do some high and some low flying on most days.
Oh, wonderful. You know, there are so many photographs that I have of that trip, and I'd love to share them. And what I'll do is I'll share them on a little video clip I'll make after the show. So anyone who'd like to see those video clips, please, you know, come on and look on LinkedIn. You'll see those clips of the videos that I'll put together. But Felicity, I'd like to just give you an opportunity, maybe just to talk a little bit about the different events that you do and what you can do for business. If you'd like to just quickly just talk about that.
Okay. So which one first? Okay, so events. Yeah. There are ballooning events all over the world. We've had a couple of very nice ones in South Africa. But we don't often get the kind of sponsorship needed to run them these days. In the early days, it didn't take very much. These days, it takes a lot of money to run a really nice, fun event. And there are many all over the world. I'm thinking Albuquerque, which is the biggest balloon event in the world. I was lucky enough to be there in the year 2000 when they had 1,000 balloons for the millennium. You know, that was extraordinary, really extraordinary. And then there's other places like Metz in France has a very big event, about 600 balloons. So there are some wonderful events around the world. And for corporates, a balloon is something that can be used to their advantage, especially if they do a lot of events. So if you're involved in promoting music events or sports events, you can use a balloon to help you promote your brand at those events. It can be done in two ways, either by purchasing your own balloon or by putting a banner on. If it's a one-off event for a weekend or something, we can put a banner onto a balloon and use that to promote your brand. So those are the two ways that it can be done.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm going to ask each of the co-hosts, we're running out of time, but I'm going to ask each of the co-hosts just to give us one word for what their biggest takeaway was for today. 1 or 2 words. I know Russell always goes for 2 words or 3. Let's start with Mana. What's your big takeaway here, Mana? What's your one word for Felicity today?
I think courage is the one thing that came up, doing something that not a lot of women would think of doing. And I really take my hat off to you. Really, really, really amazing.
Thank you, Mana. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn?
Apologies, just batting to get the mute button off. I'm going to stick with the 3 words that I spoke about just now. Passion meets purpose. That's it for me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Willem?
Yeah, I like always to see a lesson in these types of things, and you need to get up to go up.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I love that. Thanks very much, Willem. And Russell?
Wilhelm used a sentence, so I'm also. I loved what you said, Felicity. Love something that much, you will make it work. I think that's a good one.
Sure. Pursue your passion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, Felicity, for you, if you had to go and write something in the sky, what would you write?
I think it would be pursue your passion. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. So thank you very much, Felicity, for being here today. Thanks for your time. It's really an honor to have you here, and also in the celebration of Women's Month, you know, to have someone who's actually gone along and decided to do something that they're passionate about rather than following someone else's dream. I think that's something that's a big lesson to all of us. You know, follow your passion, don't follow someone else's. And I'd like to say that we are continuing our series. Next week we've got a gentleman who's going to be talking about cars. So anyone who loves cars, come and listen to that. The following week we're going to be talking about business pitches. So that's more about business acumen, how to actually make a good business pitch. He's a gentleman from England who's going to be talking to us. So come and join us. Every Thursday we have an event, and Felicity, you're most welcome to join us, and listeners, please come and join us every Thursday at 8 to 9. Please book that time, and it'll be great to have you. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. We're here. We're here to give back to you, and that's our passion. So I'd like to just end off this with a little video, and thanks to Felicity. And please contact Felicity if you need any campaigns, any events, or just to go and learn a little bit more about ballooning, or go and join her at her workshop. Go and visit her and find out more. So good luck.
Everybody's welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Great. Thanks, guys. I'm going to end the show, and let's do that. And then if all the speakers and the guys could stay on, please, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Bless you. Have a fantastic week, and bless you all. Thank you.